program, and he went from a bigger school like the Canyon to New Home, which was smaller, and then he adjusted really well. And you know, you never know how kids are going to adjust moving in like February, and that's hard on a junior, sophomore, going to be a junior in high school. But I was a little bit worried at the beginning, and then when I seen him dancing around when the weight room, the music is going, and I was like, he's figured it out. And that O-line group is a different group. They, I think they're eating him probably out of house and home right now, so they just kind of go to different houses and eat. But good people.
Keep eating, right, Coach?
Right.
Keep eating.
Hey, real quick, Dylan, does that sound about right? The O-line just going to different houses and eating all the food and then going to the next one?
Dylan.
Yeah, he said yes. Yeah. Okay, just want to check. We got one of our former O-linemen in the audience tonight.
And Dylan was a kid that moved here his freshman, into his freshman year, maybe sophomore year. So, you know, that's something that we're experienced with, because you know it's not a community that is. We have the people that are growing with us, but we also have new people. So how do you adjust the new and blend it in? And that's always something that's a challenge. But with our kids, I think they do a really good job of accepting and setting the standard, and then letting them see where they belong and fit. You know, so it's a great community for that. We also have, we have Jaden Parker that just moved in from Kansas. His mom is a teacher here. You probably been hearing about him quite a bit. She helps with our special needs kids, and he's been a blessing. Not just because he's 6'2", 218. That is part of the blessing, and he runs really fast and he tackles. But it's good that he gets to be with his sister and his brother, and they're all living here, and you know, it's been fun watching him grow. Other than that, we have two individuals, Kyler and Cam Pettijohn. They moved in, and we're still waiting on a lot of their stuff to be finalized, see if they're going to get to play. But we have, that's unless I'm leaving anybody out. I mean, on the varsity. Oh yes, Jackson Lyons moved in from Allen. Plays running back, and he's adjusting. He's done really well with us. He's been a fun kid, a lot of different personalities, but he's learning how to transition to a lot of football instead of football to a lot of football, and he's getting it. But you know, we've had 5 kids that moved in from the high school rank and or for the varsity team, and then we've had some kids that have moved in that probably at the younger levels, you know, and you're waiting to see, you know, how that all shakes out. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a fun group.
Yeah, so it's already, I mean, we get the opportunity occasionally to come and witness some of this, and it is fun. And maybe that's an understatement. I watch the coaches' reactions, and for me, that's maybe more fun to watch than some of the kids' reactions to what's going on. But it is a lot of fun to see these guys, how they've really kind of opened their arms and just kind of like let them, like you say, let practice sift out what is and what isn't.
Yeah, you know, we had a little scrimmage, and we were supposed to be at the stadium, but I mean, we've had nothing but rain here in the last couple of weeks, so we got to go in the indoor, and we have been able to practice because of all the facilities that Anna has given us. So we haven't had to miss a practice. We had to adjust the way we did practice, but we hadn't had to miss one. So, you know, we usually let the parents in, and we want everybody to be involved. That's the biggest thing I think that might be different in our program is we're not going to close practice. We're not hiding anything. We want you to come out. We want you to be a part of the experience. We don't want you to coach it, but we want you to be a part of it.
That's a fine line right there.
We have a young offensive line right now, and we have freshmen going in there, and we have he's going against Caden Banks and Cash Williams, and all the parents, and Miss Andy Brown, who's my athletic secretary, she was up there. And Weston had some troubles at the beginning. They were doing some stunts and stuff, and then he got a pretty good encouraging couple of words, and I know that indoor's really, really close. When I was saying I let everybody in, I was right probably on the edge of maybe we need to not let the parents in the indoor and just outside in the deal. But luckily she said, you know, she's a pretty tough cookie, and she was saying, you need to give it to him. But I was like, no, you know, he's doing well. He's just, you know, it's hard for a freshman when sometimes in spring football, that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get something that you've seen at a slower pace, and now all of a sudden it's coming at you at a varsity level. So you got to learn to adjust. So that's what's really good about spring, is that when you get a chance, you don't have to play a game, but you can teach them, you know, what they need to do to learn. And they see a different speed. And we go one-on-one, so we don't have a scout team. We don't do that. It's best on versus best.
A lot of fast growing up right now.
There is, but that's what it's supposed to be. So, you know, there's going to be some days that you go in and you don't. I go home, and we'll say what's wrong, and then I feel like I can't win a game. I was like, oh Lord, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And she's learned over 18 years to ignore me.
20.
Oh, sorry, 20.
20.
Oh man. Oh no, now it's bad. It was okay at first.
It's been so easy. I thought it was not as many.
Time has flown by. It's just, you know.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
So good.
Hey, Mother's Day is this weekend.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, Mother's Day is this weekend.
I gotta go. I've seen this pillow that's been really big. I've seen it on those infomercials that I've been wanting to check out on this Mother's Day.
There we go. Okay, Mr. Tucker, look, we had for those of you that are joining the live show right now, thank you for all the text messages and everything else that we were muted. Little technical snafu, but it's all good. Blake went and did a little troubleshooting. Just again, we want to reintroduce you just because
Yes.
you were muted a little bit.
Okay.
So I hate to have to ask you to restate,
No.
but I think it does you a disservice to not give you that chance. Just talk a little bit about some of those things we talked about, especially what you bring to this district as a whole, as the new superintendent here in Anna.
Sure. Well, I hope a body of work is what people have seen if you followed my career. Obviously, I'm a small town guy. I'm from Clyde, Texas. You may know where Clyde is, just 10 miles east of Abilene. Grew up in the trailer park there. So, you know, I was one of those kids that was lucky to grow up and get out. We didn't know how poor we were back in the day, and had two great parents that were amazing, older generation. You know, both lost them in their 90s, but, you know, that tougher people, that tougher group. And so was raised by just amazing, driven individuals. And that's what we talked about a little bit earlier. The people we want to surround ourselves with here, we want insanely driven folks. All right, we want folks that love kids, number one. Number two, going to come to work every day and do their job and do it for the betterment of the town, the community, and the school. And so, you know, for me as a former coach, a former special education teacher, a former athletic director, you know, I think I bring a different lens than what some other people can offer. And so I'm just thrilled to be here. I've been so impressed by your community. I've been so impressed by the pride. You want, you know, when you bring a kid, you know, when I'm bringing my own child into the district, you want to do your homework, and you want them to be in a place where they can thrive, where they're loved, and then challenged. I mean, you know, Coach, you know, he's tongue in cheek about getting somebody's hip pocket. I want my kid challenged, because at the end of the day, he's going to be an employee for someone someday. And I want him to be able to rise to that level. So I love what we've got going on here. I'm honored. I really, truly mean that. It's the honor of my life to be the superintendent in Anna ISD. And so looking forward to building relationships, and just thrilled.
Well, and so you kind of unintentionally started walking into our second question that we had for you anyways, right? You've been here, was it February 21?
Yep, February 20th. Yep,
February 20th,
yep.
okay. So, you know, it's right about 3 months now, 2.5 to 3 months that you've been here in the district. We were talking to Coach Parr about what are some of the new faces, some of the exciting things that you're noticing. What is, for you as a superintendent, what are some of the exciting things you're noticing in the district that as you go into your off season, you know, talking about the summer months, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to building upon and enhancing and pushing forward and saying, yes, this is how we do things?
Well, sure. You know, we had a curriculum advisory committee today. And that sounds a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But,
it
was really, really in depth. But one of the questions was, what's your education philosophy in one word? And mine's happy. I want happy kids, happy teachers, happy employees, happy people. There's no rule in the Texas Education Code that says education has to be painful. And a lot of times I think we make it really, really hard. So I want Anna to be a happy place. And I'm just, again, I'm so impressed by the plan. I mean, we've got a plan. Our board of trustees has a true plan. I love the relationship with our city, and I look forward to growing that. I just think that with our team, and when I mean that, I mean it takes all of us. The sky's the limit.
I like Happy better than do rigor. Yeah. So when I was a kid, they tell me rigor. I was like, man, rigor, we're gonna be hard all the time, you know. So I do like Happy. Happy comes out better. So happy people, better grades.
There you go.
Hey, right. I 100% agree. Happy, moving to football a little bit. I think people get pretty happy when they see a well-balanced team. And I think you have done a great job over the years putting a well-balanced team on the field. But in particular, Coach, I really feel like you're known for some stellar offenses. Not that your defenses are bad. I don't say that at all. I look, the first year here, I learned that the air raid can play defense, right?
Yeah,
like that can happen. But you're known for some stellar offense. So what should we expect from the offense during spring game and maybe kind of going into this next season?
One, we got two really good inside receivers right now that are making a lot of plays that they've, Rowan, Nylander, and Ace Trailer, they're carrying us right now, with the offensive line. But we have outside receivers that haven't got to play, so we've had to play two younger kids that are freshmen that have done a good job. And then with the offensive line, it's a growing group. You got a good core, and then we're trying to figure it out with that. So I don't know what it's going to look like yet. Very similar to what we've been, but I think we're probably being 4 to 5 years into it. I think they know, they've been into it. Even the younger guys know what they're doing, and we're not having to go back and teach step one because they've gone through it enough times and they had the leadership with the older guys that now they can go out and do the skills and do the route, know what assignment is. The big thing with the younger guys is the strength. They're just, you can't get shoved around, and that's where Ace and Zai and the older offensive lineman guys that have been in the weight room for 3 years, that really helps. So I think it's going to be very, very similar to what we've had. Hopefully score as many points as we did last year.
There's the first mention of it this year, score 84.
If you know, and if you're a coach watching our show, you don't need to get frustrated. This is my own opinion.
So on defense, I can tell defense was, last year, that was when we weren't as balanced. But I was really proud of them because they started out the season, everybody knew we had to score almost every possession, every time we had the ball. And I told Coach Severe that was going to be the case when we got there. We graduated 11 defensive guys off of a really good defense that had played for 3 years. So these kids have not even played yet. So, and then we started out with the toughest part of the schedule. So during spring football, I think, we have these GPSs that we wear, and Chumley would match up top speed 20, Zai's 20, and you're seeing all these top end speeds and all these explosion plays. Well, what we've noticed now is you don't have any top end speeds. Well, that's good because the defense is not allowing us to break everything. And so I think we have really gained a lot on that and become probably a more balanced team this year. And then with the special team situation, I bet we probably have, Dez has probably been 10 times even better in the spring than he has in the season on extra points. So I'm really excited about him. I'm really excited about all the teams that we're bringing in, and I think they're blended. And these kids know how to win. They know what it takes to win. So I always tell them, you got to know it takes what it takes to win. Do we have to come up in the morning? Well, do you want to win? So if the answer is yes, then it takes what. Do I have to go to class? Well, do you want to play or win? Yeah, well, it takes what it takes. All right. Do I have to come after school? It takes what it takes. Do we have to come in the summer? Don't have to, but if you want to win, you got to be there. And so all these things, these guys know that, so they set the expectation. they help younger guys or people that are moving in understand that situation. So it's been really, really good. I think it's going to be a very mature football team.
So one of the things we've noticed as we've been up and watching some of the practices at the indoor is a lot of visits from some D1 recruiting staffs. Right, we've seen a lot of people in there. In fact, you tweeted out, "Where's the beef?" I think it was.
That's a Wendy's commercial.
Yeah.
All you 80s and 90s people, that was a good commercial.
You know, it was a picture of like the OU, Missouri, was it Tech?
A&M.
Yeah, A&M.
And
We've
A&M
had
line
every,
out there.
you
What has
know,
that been like having some of those guys around the program, and what is that a testament to start to see a lot of those guys coming in and out of the building on a regular basis?
Well, usually they come during spring football. It's something, that's the reason we have spring football. A lot of coaches, like, they don't want to do spring football because they say they lose a scrimmage or something. But for recruiting purposes and everything, and I like spring football, and it gets our kids 18 days of not leaving from school, or, you know, we got to do it. But that's a big recruiting period because all the coaches are on the road, and when they come to Anna, they are entertained during fourth period. They're going to see 11-on-11 fast plays football. They all say, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Now, you know, all the deep offensive line guys are coming because Peyton is really highly recruited in that area. And so we're getting a lot of O-line coaches. And then we're getting some offensive coordinators with Zai. But all that does is lead to other people, you know. When they come in, they get to look at him. I know Lashim's starting to get some looks at the offensive line deal. He's, I think, grown 3 inches, around 6'4", 6'5", and they're like, he bends really well. So, you know, and then they go back and say, hey, these linebackers are really good, or then they go in there and they tell the receivers and that are really, really well. And another good thing is, like, we are very high academic at that receiver deal. Like, Ace Traylor brings in, and Rowan, they bring in a different group because now the Ivy League and the Patriot League people are coming in because there's something that football that brings him that gets them get admitted to that school, but they have a high enough GPA because their grades are so well, then that attracts another group of people. So, you know, one domino falls and the other ones, you know, help out. So if you really want to be good or you want to be noticed, then spring football's a must for you, I believe. I gotta be careful because I don't want to get saying I'm recruiting or anything. But
no, you're not. The college coaches are recruiting your players to come play for their program. That's how it's going.
But if you have that place, I mean, if you're an offensive lineman right now, it's a pretty good place to be in Anna, Texas.
It's fun, Coach. We were hanging around the facility the other day watching some drills and things like that during that fourth period, and just kind of catching some B-roll video and things like that. And for me, I got to imagine watching your coaches watch all this stuff take place. When those guys are here from those programs and they watch something happen and they kind of all look at each other and smile, I imagine that's a very important moment for some of these young men. And it was fun to watch them react to our guys doing what they love to do.
It wasn't fun yesterday.
Oh.
So when Peyton went down,
Yes.
you know, he had a bad day yesterday. I don't know if Peyton had strep throat, so he came in and he was down and done. It's probably from all the fishing that him and Zai and all them guys are doing. Never have strep throat when you're fishing, but he was out there and he came in. He was feeling bad. He's walking around. We've had a lot of talks about don't leave your class. You know, everybody gets a little senioritis right now, and unfortunately our sophomores and juniors are trying to get it. And after you test and the STAR test is done, it's always the hardest time to get everybody rolling around. Well, Peyton's a hard one too, and he likes to hang around the football office sometimes. And so I was like, where are you going? He goes, Coach, I'm not feeling good. I got to go home. And my brother's picking me up. And I was like, okay. So he's sick, and he goes home, and then he comes back, and I could tell, you know, he's really sick because he usually doesn't miss much, but Mom's taking a picture of his throat, and I know that we're having a lot of sickness, so he goes. Then he comes back to practice, and he's doing well. We have all the college coaches that are, I mean, they're all coming to watch him. They're like, is Peyton going to be here? He comes out, well, that Caden Banks is ready. He got, finally somebody, Caden Banks got Southern Arkansas came by
Okay.
and showed him interest. And Caden Banks is a dang good football player.
Yes, he is.
Coach, we have a nickname for him on the show. Now, I know during season you don't get a chance to watch our show, and we don't hold that against you because you've got something better to do. But we call him the Soul Snatcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way he hits people, you can see the
I
light
call
through
him
their
some,
eyes.
I call him something else sometimes, but
We can't do that on YouTube. They'll ban our channel if we do that, Coach.
so he comes. The Tulsa guys watching him on film, like they're in there watching film, and they're saying like, "Who's this guy?" And I said, "That's Caden Banks." And I mean, he's just coming off the field. Well, I give him that card. Caden is like ready to practice. And we hadn't seen this speed from Caden for a while, and he is just busting through there. And he lands on Peyton's ankle. He goes down. I mean, it's pretty violent. I'm thinking, you know, Peyton's usually a pretty tough kid, but he's face down. He can't get up. And I'm looking at those knee braces we bought, and I said, that better be worth it. So I'm checking his knee. And then you'll be proud of him, Pastor. I didn't hear any negative language.
Hey, there you go, Peyton.
Yeah, so,
there you go, Peyton.
Now, from Coach Rigg, I can't say I didn't,
I
know,
mean,
but he might have
I've been
said
to practices,
something.
Coach. It's all good.
He might have said something, but he's laying down, and then all I'm thinking is, I hope it's not his Achilles or his knee, and then it was his ankle, and that's a big ankle. So then he leaves the facilities. He got nosebleed, strep throat, and ankle. And I was like, you had a bad day this morning. You shouldn't have woke up. You know, so he had a rough one. But another funny story about Caden is not very many superintendents know your name the second week of school. Caden was one of those that got recognized, and you can tell he's a true defensive lineman. All the way from the top, I said, you're the only person, Caden, the very top guy of our school district knows who Caden Banks is. He goes, well, that's pretty good, Coach. I said, no, it's not what we're looking for, Caden.
Not in this situation, brother. Not in this situation.
Yeah, I get you, Coach. I say, yeah. So Caden's a great kid, plays hard, plays fast, and he's starting to get it. And that guy from Tulsa looks at me and goes, I'll bet you a sandwich next year this kid's going to sign somewhere. And so that was from Tulsa, and that's the benefits of spring football. Yeah. That's the benefits of going one-on-ones and then finishing. And, you know, and that one little card from that college coach, and we got a great day. I get two Caden Banks stories coming here. We got more than this. I got a teacher come in to me and tell me, I want to let you know Caden Banks passed his test I guess for certification on business in there. And then he just looks at me and grins and said, Coach, I got you. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, we see you, brother.
So we're proud of him. He passed his business or whatever the CTE deal was. And you had to pass it. It's a big deal. So he did a good job.
Soul snatching and grade grabbing.
We're on the way up. We're on the way up. So.
Oh, man, that's great. Well, look, Mr. Tucker, we've been talking a lot about staying competitive and what a football team needs to do to be there. And what does our district, as you've kind of had these months to kind of look around, what does our district need to do to stay competitive with other schools in our area specifically?
Well, I think you've done some things with your 4-day week. I think that's highly attractive to recruiting teachers. As you know, we're in an extreme teacher shortage right now. I have a friend, she's the HR director in McKinney, and she talked about the amount of teachers they lost when we went to the 4-day week. So I think being creative and things like that. But really, to stay competitive as the district, I think it's real simple. You've got to have a plan and stick to it. No different than Coach. I mean, he has a plan, talked about what it takes to win for his team. We just can't be all over the place every year, and every time a new idea comes up, just latch onto it for 6 months and then shift and change. We really got to do some long-term strategic planning and stick with it. And I'm an old coach, and it's hard to get out of that. And Nolan Richardson, if there's any Arkansas Razorback fans, he was one of my favorite coaches. But when those guys were rolling in the 80s and 90s, he had a great quote, and he said, "We've made this monster, and now we got to feed it." We got to keep feeding the monster, right? And we know our growth's coming. It's not going to stop. We know our success is not going to stop. We just got to continue to feed that.
That's great. That's great. Steady hand at the helm,
There you
right?
go. That's right.
Steady hand at the helm. Well, we are certainly glad that you're here. certainly glad for that.
We are. We're excited for the future of our district and how you're going to lead and guide that. And I know there will be a lot of people that will come alongside you to help with that. And, you know, it's not just going to be a one-man show.
I sure hope so. We'll take all the help we
just
can
from listening to you talk tonight, man, I think there's a lot to be excited about for our residents and our community for what this district is going to do and how they're going to grow.
Please understand, I'm just as excited. So let's roll.
There you go. Well, hey, as always, Coach Parr, you get the final word, and we kind of want to we want to point you in a little bit of direction. We had some fun zones last year, and we had some no fun zones last year.
Yeah.
So I want to give you the opportunity to talk about to our fans, our community, what the game day atmosphere and experience is going to be like in the coming season, and kind of what your hopes and expectations are out of them to support the boys on the field on a Friday night.
Well, you know, going through that is kind of what makes Anna unique, you know, is the environment and the community. You know, we're a partner. It's not like a bunch of different ones right now. You're coming here and, you know, we're talking about spring football, all right? Not very many other people have this, right? They love Anna and they love being a Coyote. So I think on game day, then that just has to be, you know, expressed. I mean, people got to come out and support. We always have the tailgate. That's a big deal. When people come, they're very impressed with that on how all that operates, and they feel like it's a college environment. And then when you come to the game, bring your horns all the way, all the time.
Yes.
You know, always have that. We're doing some new things with the game day atmosphere as far as the stadium, that we're getting people, trying to get them more involved. We're trying to give these guys a college experience. Like, if we can be, we're always trying to want the best. So the productions that we're doing, we're trying to make it, you know, hey, I want my kid to play there. Because there are people that are going to be moving everywhere, you know, and then if they're going to have to move somewhere around this area, we want to move right here because we feel like we have the best school. We feel like we have the best programs. I think we're an A campus.
Pretty daggum good.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, when they come in here, that's what they want to see. They want to see, how am I going to involve my kid into a community, and our community supports our kids. So we're also adding kids. We're the elementary group. We have a kids club that we've introduced, and we're trying to do that to get them involved. I think we got around 90 kids that are signed up for this kids club. We're trying to get them to games early. We're trying to connect them with the high school kids. We're trying to get them to basketball, football, every game, right? So they got a lot of choices in life where to go after once they get to junior high. We're trying to get them to come and be a part of something good and productive instead of maybe something that might be going away, because there's a lot of temptations, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of phone stuff, a lot of things that get sold that might not be as good as they think they are, and they're very young at that junior high level. And we're really trying to connect that group and be a bridge where they have leadership, where they can go out and be a positive, you know, say, hey, I can do what they're doing. And that's every program, but that's what we're trying to do in the sports world.
I mean, I think that's awesome, creating a desire in the future generations to be a Coyote.
And
Right?
all I'm taking is I remember when I was in elementary and I heard the band and I got the ribbons and it was game day, and I loved that when I was a little kid. And I loved Angry Red, enough said. I hated Hereford, Texas. I hated all those people. And it was a great time. And that's all we're trying to do, is recreate those great times. And don't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Odessa and Odessa Permian, when they had that book, they got a little scared of being who they were. Why? Hey, you like football. I mean, that's what your community is. Don't be ashamed of that. You know, be proud of it. That's what you're good at.
Well, and at the heart of that, it's wanting to support kids.
Yes.
Right? Wanting to support the kids in your community. There's nothing wrong with that, ever.
No, and I think that kind of hurt Texas high school football a little bit, because everybody perceived it as a negative.
Right.
And there probably was some negative things that could have happened that you can adjust yourselves and maybe fix, but don't ever be ashamed of who you are, where you came from, and who you are. And I think Texas needs to learn, hey, we are a community-based state. we don't have to be scared of who we are and celebrate it instead of be afraid of what it is. And I think a lot of that comes from the fun zone. I think we have taken nothing against administrators. All right. But we have taken a lot of fun because we don't want to administer, or we think we might offend somebody. And that's where he's really good at. But like the purple, the signs, the haze, the horns. Well, you might hurt somebody's ears. Well, then don't come to a football game. All right. So then, everybody's got a choice of what they're going to do. So when they come to Anna, we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes,
and we're going to be good. And if we win, you probably will hear that we won. All right. And if we lose, it's probably because the referees cheated us.
That's right.
Why'd you look right at me with that line?
Well, I'll tell you what, from teachers to admin to coaches, I had a little kid that grew up playing sports in Anna, and all he ever wanted to do was to play for the high school. Mm-hmm. That's all he ever wanted to do. Played a lot of rec sports in Anna, and his main goal, his main desire was one day to be a Coyote. Mm-hmm. And he fought for that. He fought mom and dad because we didn't always have our kids in the public school system. Yeah. And he looked us eyeball to eyeball and said, I want to be a Coyote. Yeah. And this is why I want to do it. And, next year he'll be a senior, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful he's a Coyote. I'm thankful he's got models, role models like the teachers and a steady hand at the helm in our admin and great coaches and men and women around him that are kind of helping make him the man that he's turned into. So. Well,
the unique thing about Anna High School is like we got principals like Ms. Crank who take, and we got more than just one, but they'll take the athletes or they'll take somebody and they might be having a bad day, and they're going to try to get them into a right spot, and they want to see them be successful. And I think a lot of our teachers and a lot of our administrators at Anna, that they want them to do good. They're trying to be a winner. We're trying to raise winners, but at the same time, sometimes you have to have uncomfortable talks. But I think more likely they're not trying to bury them; they're trying to raise them. And I've been in places where we buried them and not, done that, and just understand sometimes they're kids, and especially males, we do some dumb things. Like even when we get older.
Like forget how many years you've been
married.
Yes.
For example of that. Thank you for bringing that back up.
I'd like to know. I don't think on the outside
about it already.
Oh no.
But even our student trainers, you see our student trainers, and they do a good job. The video crew, I think more people feel like they're a part of it. We're wanting the Coyotes to be big. We're wanting the cheerleaders to be big. We want the student body to be big, and we want you all to wear purple. And on Friday nights, it's a good night. Now, I will challenge us this is we don't want to make it where we're not watching the game, where we're just there hanging out at the concession stand, which I do want you to purchase at the concession stand. But we want you to be in the seats, and we want everybody to go in there when they come to Anna and say, man, that is the place to be. That's where I want to go. They want to feel safe, but they want to have fun, right? And then that's what we're always going after. And that's what I love about, Texas high school football.
Well, listen. Let me indulge me for a second. You
got
told a story
questions?
about your boy. No, I've got an 11-year-old son.
Okay.
Right. I try to. Hey, buddy. His name is Josh. Hey, Josh. You gonna sit down and watch this game with me? No, Daddy. I'm not a fan of that team. You're not a fan of my favorite professional sports team? No, Daddy. I'm a fan of the Coyotes.
There you go.
Right. I'm a fan of the Coyotes. That's who I want to go watch. I want to go watch the Coyotes. I want to be about the Coyotes, and that's a testament to some of the culture that you've helped create as athletic director and head football coach, and I know, Mr. Tucker, that you're going to carry forward with you and kind of take that pride, and that's one of the cool things that we see in our community is we see people want to be Coyotes. They're fans of Coyotes.
Well, I used to have Facebook. When I switched my phone, I don't anymore. But Ann brought me. She showed me a picture. I think what was the lady's name of the Coyote? Miss San Martin. Her daughter plays golfer and is a regional golfer, and there was 2 coyotes on hay bales at her place, and she put "We see you" and then
That's
a coyote hunting, and that's a member of the community. That's what I was like. That's awesome, you know. So it was fun to see the coyotes out.
Well, both of you, thank you for joining us tonight. Segment 1 was incredible, even with the technical difficulty, it was incredible. Thanks for making it what it was, gentlemen. Thanks for coming out and being a part. Let's thank both these guys.
Thank you.
On YouTube. Hey, we are joined by 3 of our seniors that are getting ready to graduate pretty soon. Right, we got starting over here, far right from me, we got Dylan Jeffers.
Dylan
There we
Jeffers,
go, Dylan
everybody,
Jeffers,
let's go.
everybody. We got the infamous Edward Chumley, Chum Bucket.
Superman.
And then, of course, we got Zay Gentry over here, man. Let's give some love to Zay. Hey, guys, thank you for being willing to come on and join us, answer some questions, talk a little bit. Zay, we're going to start with you because you most recently had something big happen. You went down to the state track meet. Why don't you talk to us a little bit tell us about what event you ran, how you placed. Tell us just about that experience in general.
So yeah, I had the Texas UIL state track meet. I mean, I would say it was fun, but off because I caught food poisoning when I went down there. So that Friday we ate Olive Garden. I caught food poisoning and I was sick the whole time. But then I eventually
Who chose Olive Garden for the meal?
Coach Rodriguez.
Coach Rod. Coach Rod. Come, man, he threw you under the bus quick.
He said some pasta for the car.
So the question is, are you ready to go to Olive Garden tonight?
Oh no.
No.
All right, so you got over that. I saw on X you had to get a couple of bags of IV, stuff like that, right?
Yes, sir. And then I ran the next day, and I placed well. I got 5th and had a top 5 time. So it was great, and it was a fun time and a humbling experience to compete. So
What did you? So it was 110-meter hurdles, right?
yes, sir.
What did you run it in?
I ran 14:10.
14:10. I don't get out of bed in 14.10 seconds. That's impressive. Neither does he.
Oh, coach is hitting at you, man. Look at that. Look at that. Well, look, hey, I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding when it comes to sprinting and running fast, right? People just say, oh, you just got to line up, and when the gun goes off, you just run fast.
Yeah, it's way different than that, considering you have to run and jump at the same time. So you have to run and jump and then try to hurry up and snap your leg back down and go over like 12 hurdles. So it's a lot.
So from a technique perspective, what were some of the things that you were facing going into this state track meet that you were having to focus on and really try to get better at before you ran?
The thing I was really focused about getting better at was my block starts, considering I really didn't know how to set up blocks until I came to Anna, and Coach Rod and them helped me set up my blocks. So really just working on that block start and then working getting my trail leg over the hurdle. That was really a lot.
Yeah, there's no hope for me to get any trail leg over anything other than a curb. That's about as high as I go.
How many pizza boxes high is a hurdle? That's my unit of measurements. I don't think I can clear that many pizza boxes, but it's cool watching you guys do that.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's a big deal.
Any other cool experiences or stories from being down there?
Nah, really just hanging out with Coach Rod. It was fun. Coach Rod's a funny guy. Coach Rod's a funny guy.
Listen, we've heard him crack some jokes before. He thinks he's funnier than he is maybe sometimes.
I didn't I didn't say that. I didn't say that. All right, I got you.
I get blamed for whatever you say
That's
anyway,
right,
so
doesn't
I
matter.
might as well be the one
If I
that
say it,
says
you're
it.
going to take the heat. Well, look, let me roll into a question for all you guys, and we'll just start with Dylan and kind of work our way down. Each one of you is getting to play at the next level. You get to go play some football, and that's pretty exciting. Not everybody gets that chance. It's a small percentage of guys that get to leave high school and keep competing, keep playing football. With college recruiting kind of what it is today, I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to talk and have you tell us about your experience being recruited and what led you ultimately to choose the university you're going to play at. So, Dylan, we'll start with you. How about that?
Well, I'd say I didn't get my first college interest until probably end of my junior year from Lamar. I went throughout the summer. I went to camps. Throughout the summer, I went to Lamar camp. I went to a Baylor camp. And I went to a camp that was hosted here in Anna. And I slowly but surely started getting more traction. But I also sent out my film to all these coaches on X every day, multiple hours a day, to multiple coaches. But I didn't get my first true interest until towards the end of my senior season. So it was from a school in Minnesota, I think. It was a D3 or JUCO, and then they offered me, but then I didn't really talk to them much. But then after that, it was OBU. They came up to Anna, talked to me, and then it was a couple more, a handful of JUCOs, and probably a couple of D3s here and there. And then after that, I didn't go on any visits or really talk to a coach really over the phone multiple times, a couple weeks, until January, where I started talking to the OBU coach, Oklahoma Baptist, Langston University, and Texas A&M Kingsville. And what ultimately led me to decide to commit to Texas A&M Kingsville was, first off, Coach Parr's brother coaching there. Almost basically the same coaching style, have the same mannerisms, talk basically the same thing. Talk the same big game. They want to win. They run basically almost the exact same offense. And also, he offered me a full ride. So that's what made me decide to go.
I mean, listen, a full ride is a big deal, man. To get a free education, that's a blessing right there, right? Yeah. Hey, so you talked about how the familiarity of Coach Parr, right? Coach Scott Parr, right? You got Coach Seth Parr, we got Coach Scott Parr coming up for you. And he just took over that program, right? So what kind of was it that he was talking to you about that kind of sold you specifically on Dylan Jeffers, this is my home?
Well, first off, it was a welcoming environment. It felt home. They had a couple of their players talk to us before we went on our tour, and they would talk about how even though there's not a lot to do out there, it's basically in the middle of nowhere. It's a team. The whole team bonds together. Every time they go out to do something, it's a team thing. Offensive line, team thing. Receivers, team thing. Safeties, team thing. So that's what also helped me to decide. But also because he wants to win.
Right.
I don't want to be under a coach they're just a coach.
Yeah.
I want a coach who has ambition, who wants to win, somebody who knows what they're doing. So that's.
There you
Awesome,
go.
man.
I love it. Hey, Chum Bucket. Same question. Take us through that process. What was that like while you were racking up the yards and running over people and putting stiff arms and hurt on people
And sacking people.
Don't forget
people.
that. Yes. And recovering fumbles and forcing fumbles
And shooting people with your laser vision.
and doing whatever your little dance that you were doing in the end
We
zone all
did
season
call
long.
the dance, bro. Like, I mean, Zay, could you not help him out?
Nah, I didn't know how to dance.
Zay said, I'm staying away from that one. Kind of talk to us about what was that process like for you?
My recruiting process was slower than I wanted it to be. I didn't get my first offer till my senior year, and I think part of that had to do with me not advertising myself very well. I didn't go to many camps. I didn't post my film or my clips.
Real quick, raise your hand if you're in the room and you told Chumley to post his film on X anywhere. Anybody else?
Imagine that.
Lots of us. Yep, okay.
Teammates told him. Dad told him. I mean,
coaches.
other dads.
Teammates' dads.
Worst social media guy ever.
Yeah.
And then he put out like a 10-minute video reel all at once.
Yeah, so I struggled with just getting my name out, which I think the coaches here at Anna do a great job at helping me. They helped me a lot. Coach Townsend, my running back coach, he's the one that helped me put all my clips together and make my highlight reel. And I know Coach Rig talked to some coaches he knew and got my name around, which they helped me out a lot. And all the coaches here at Anna, they care a lot about the players and they want to see us go play at the next level. But for me, once I got my offer from Kingsville, ultimately what led me to decide on them was Coach Parr's being his brother. They run I'll be very familiar with the offense, very similar, so I can pick up on the plays, the playbook. I'll know what I'm doing. And I like where it's located. It's by Corpus, by the beach, so I'll be over there for spring break.
So,
All right.
I'm not gonna touch that one. So we got one
No,
person.
we'll just
we
kinda
got one kid that
Winning-
said yeah, it's by the beach, and another one that said it's in the middle of nowhere.
Let me remind you, to win, it takes what it takes. I'm just gonna throw that back out there from segment 1, just so you remember, just in case you're already forgetting.
Yeah, that too. Kingsville is big on culture. They're very big on culture, so it's not just the team and the coaches, but the whole community is really big on the football, because I believe it's the last D2 college, furthest south or something like that. So
in
a lot
Texas,
of
right?
fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got the whole community will come out to the games, and they're very into it too. So
Well,
I don't
that
think
sounds
you can-
familiar.
Yeah, I don't think you can be much further south in Texas than where you're going. So let me ask you this: how involved were your families in the process of selecting a school and in your recruitment as you went through it? For both you and Dylan, and then Zay, when you get to you can chime in that as well.
My dad helped me out a lot. He was very into it. He still is helping me with some of the things that I got to do. But he's takes me everywhere. I mean, he's the one that gets all the dates together and basically does everything. Really, all I got to do is show up and
Hit send on the tweet.
Just post, man. Just post, bro. Just post something.
Well, I can say that because the amount of text messages I got from your dad about stuff like that, and I was like, I'm not a recruiter. That's awesome. What about you, Dylan? How involved was your family?
They were pretty decently involved, but when it came to like setting up my orientation dates and signing up for stuff, my mom really just let me do that myself. I asked her to help a couple times, and then she did help, but yeah, I had to do most of it myself.
He's got to stand on his own 2 feet, doesn't he?
See, listen, as you were talking, I kept checking back out to Mama to make sure she'd give me the yes or the no on that one. So
He's not playing around.
Yeah, when it came to film and posting that, it was all by myself. Coach Parr, Coach Rick also helped, but yeah, it was really up to myself.
Okay. Well, Zay, let's transition a little bit of your recruitment. Talk a little bit about your recruitment and what ultimately led you to choose the school you're at.
My recruitment coming out of high school, well, yeah, it was pretty good because I started off at McKinney. My freshman year is when I really got my first interest, but I didn't receive my first offer until my sophomore year because due to me breaking my collarbone and not knowing if I was going to play varsity or not. So I received, I think it was after we lost to South Lake Carroll round 4, I received my first offer to Purdue, and it was like a domino effect. The same day I got Auburn, SMU, UNT, and it was fun. It was great getting the experience, and then kept stacking up, and then I came here, and then was still getting more scholarship opportunities. I had K-State calling Coach Parr, Colorado State, and a bunch of schools just coming in and out, and just really it was, I ain't gonna lie, it brought me to tears because like it was hard picking out a school. Like there were some schools that had a lot to offer that I liked, and then there was a lot of schools that I really didn't like but still had a lot to offer. So I really had to hearing from every school and see what it was like. So I took a lot of visits. I went a lot of coast to coast visits, out of state visits to see what every school had to offer. And it was a great experience, and it was fun.
Did you have family involved in that process with you? Were you kind of doing that yourself? Tell me who was involved in that.
Yeah, I had a lot of family involved, considering there was a lot of voices and opinions of people that wanted me to go to school. So really, that helped out was my mom. She would just hug me late nights and tell me it's gonna be cool, cause I cried about it. I ain't gonna lie, like picking, especially when I came down to like my top 5, I cried about it because I couldn't really decide what school I wanted to go to.
Well, so you got the 214 on your chest, right?
Yes, sir.
So it ended up being SMU. Kind of what tipped the scales towards SMU for you?
They're a traditional over transactional team, so meaning like they're more worried about winning and continuing a program other than the new NIL era and things of that nature. So really, and they're a close school, so really talking to Coach Lashley and Coach Hunley, considering they came off a college football playoff run, and really just wanting to join the trend on keeping Dallas and Metroplex areas in the same area. So really talking to them, and they helped me with a great decision after I took my official visit, and I made it my home and stuck with it. There was a lot of schools that tried to pull me out that decision, but I just didn't let nobody else affect it and stay with SMU.
You knew.
Yeah.
There was a full court press on you.
Yeah.
This last season, man. We saw some colleges walking in the door and standing next to us on the sidelines like we had any sway on anything that was going on.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot.
That was interesting to see, brother. Well, hey guys, Phil, you got anything for him?
No, man. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing that process. I think a lot of the guys are watching you. Mm-hmm. Like you guys are leading. You're examples of going through the process to some of the younger guys. And part of what we do is we want to be an encourager, right, to the team. That's our number one job. As for doing all this that we do, it's not because we get something out of it. It's because it gives us a chance to encourage you guys and to build you up somehow, and just to let you know, people care about what you do. Like grown people, weird old people care about what you do, man. Like it means something to us, and it means something to your community. And then, but for you to take the lead and to show other guys in the program what it looks like how to be patient when things aren't going the way you want them to go, when you're not getting the offers you want to get, how do you handle that emotionally? That's hard. Or when you've got so many offers, you can't make sense of it. That's a different kind of pressure, right? And so it's not surprising to me that you had all kinds of emotions over that. But to lead that way, to show these guys both sides of that, that's what men do. They help lead other men, right? Men that want to be led, they're looking for guys like you. They're looking for, and you guys are standing up in the midst of that, and I'm so proud of you guys. I'm proud of what you're doing. I can't wait to watch you succeed on the next level. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to have fans. Yeah, I know that, but right here, you're going to have fans, right? As you had fans here, you're going to have these people that are going to watch you the rest of your careers, and it's going to be a lot of fun for us. Thank you for sharing your stories. Guys, let's give them a round of applause and thank them for all they've done. All right, we're going to throw it to an ad. Let these guys get off the stage and out of the lights and away from the mic, right? Throw it to a quick ad, and then we'll be back here in just a little bit with our third and our final segment. All right, guys, we're back. It's our third segment from the Live Coaches Show.
Third and final
segment.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear it for the diehards out here that have stuck around through all three segments. Yes. Well, we are certainly glad that you guys have joined us. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being a part of this. This is the spring show, so we're going to talk about all kinds of things related to spring football, as you can tell. But this is year 2 with spring football in our system. Right? And what does spring ball mean to you? What has it meant to you? And specifically, what are some things that you really look forward to when it comes to like spring practices?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about spring football, it's the sort of first testing stage that we hit before the season, right? It's kind of a mini season within itself. A lot of our kids have been putting in a lot of work all winter, working in the weight room, doing a lot of off-season stuff, a lot of toughness training that we put them through. And so it's kind of our first opportunity to see those guys get that extra, 3, 4, 5 months of growth bigger, stronger, faster, tougher, and that's kind of then testing them out against each other. And we got to see that, and you get to see a lot of guys that may have had smaller roles the year before. They're able to take that opportunity, to either, find their role, grow their role, whatever it is, kind of make their own imprint on what this team's going to look like going on into the fall.
Yeah, for me, it's a very important evaluation period. Being able to see our strengths and weaknesses and really being able just to improve on those things and address the things that we need to. Kind of like what Coach Riggs said, from the receiver standpoint, outside receivers, we're a little banged up right now, and we've had to put in two young guys that really, had to step up, and it's made them a lot better because we kind of had to throw them in the fire there pretty quickly, and they've been able to, kind of see things, against the ones and have been able to really, be tested and get better in a lot of different areas, and it helps them, if we get into a worst case scenario in the season, they're not going to be like a deer in the headlights. They're going to be able to just respond and be able to execute because they've been through it already. So it's good for our kids. We like it. Those 18 practices are very valuable to us where we could just really just focus on ourselves and not another opponent. A lot of the film now is just on us. So being able to invest a lot of time and energy in ourselves is valuable. So it's been a huge help for our program.
Yeah, I think spring ball is, when I think about what it means for us, is just like the growth. You see a lot of kids who never played varsity football, and it's kind of their first little taste of it, even though it's not a Friday night. They're getting to play against Zai, they're getting to play against, they're having to, go against Peyton, and some of these kids are getting thrown into the fire, so to speak. And so you get to see what they're made of. You get to see who's going to rise to the occasion. You get to see who's maybe not about that yet and maybe needs another year. You just get to see, you just get his baby steps, right? You get to see the progress. And then as kind of a football purist, I love football. And so it's a chance to play football. And so it's, you get to go out there and compete and see what it's about and test some things that maybe you thought would work better for you or work differently for you or tweak. And then you get to go out there and test it out and see your guys compete and run around, and that's why we do this. Is number one, we love kids, but number two, we love football. So you get to go out there and coach football, and that's always enjoyable,
So I want to talk about a couple of kids that you're going to know. Hanging out at one of those scrimmages during fourth period, I sat next to Palmer and is it Williams? Brennan, yeah. And they were talking they were constantly asking each other questions. Right, and it was all just everything that you were doing. It was all the plays that were being called, and just listen. Those guys have a command in a way that just left me kind of like I slack-jawed. Like they and when they didn't get it right, they were correcting each other, and it was pretty cool to watch. I got a first-class defensive education sent on that side of the practice field. Talk about having some of those guys coming back, because this time last year, the defense was a little different, and the situation around defense was different. So talk a little bit about maybe those guys and just really about how it feels a little different this year for you.
Yeah, I think Brendan was here. I don't know if he's still here, but
I didn't get to brag on him while he was here.
I think he left. Yeah.
So Brendan's been out all spring with his shoulder injury, and so he's been going to every practice, doing everything, and I'm gonna brag on Brendan for a bit because he's one of the best people in our program, just flat out people. And he's been injured, but he comes every morning early for treatment, and that's since his injury was happening. I think the first scrimmage last year, our first scrimmage, and he's been battling it, and he had surgery, and he's been doing treatment every single morning, and he comes to every practice, and we moved him from outside backer to inside backer, back to outside backer to safety, and never complains. So I was talking to our team about, I was talking to our defense about, playing roles and playing within the system and being a team player, and he's kind of the guy I highlighted because if anyone can complain, it's him, and he never does. And all he does is, yes, coach, yes, sir, we'll do it, And so what helps him do it, he's a good athlete, but he's really bright and a really smart kid. So you got to listen to the right type of kid, because there's some other kids you could listen to, and you'd think, Coach Severe doesn't know what he's doing. These kids have no clue what's going on. But Brennan's really smart kid, and so he's invested, and it matters to him. And I had the reason why I chose him he was charting my defensive calls, so we could plug him in, plug it in the computer and make sure they match up, and just makes things easier. But he was doing that, and I told AP I want him to do it too. And the reason I want AP to do it is because he's been out for so long, and he hasn't been quite as consistent as Brendan being here all the time. And so I said, you need to be here. You need to listen to the calls. You need to process the calls. You need to start to mentally play the game because he's been away from it for a while. So I wanted him to be there and listen to every call and make sure. And he was actually going to be the scribe. But I looked at both their writing, and Brendan was a lot better. So I said, Brendan will write, but AP, you're going to be there with him. And you guys are going to scribe. And so that's why they're probably, what did you hear? What did you see? What call did you see, right? And so you probably heard a lot of that back and forth. And you're right. Brendan was kind of writing, and AP would follow me out to the field if I went out to the field too far, and would make sure you heard or wrote down what I said. But I mean, those are two good kids that love football, and so they're going to do it, and they're going to do whatever you ask them to do.
I noticed that you didn't get too far out on the field. That's going to lead us into a next question.
Yeah.
You had a tendency to kind of coach from the sideline, I noticed.
That's what we're supposed to do, right?
Right, and that's where it's supposed to happen. Is there a problem in spring practice?
No,
that you want to talk about?
We'll get to that. But I want to finish the second part of your question. I want to finish the second part of your question because I want to be fair to all the players that are putting in the work.
Sure.
And you referenced last year and the difference between this year and last year, and I mean, it's just I always say, like, the best way to get better at football is to play football. Mm-hmm. And so these guys are just accumulating snaps. And so at this time last year, it was new positions, new kids, new coach. Everything's new. And so it was, they're just like a baby learns every day. I have a 1-year-old, and he's learning new stuff. Coach Rod and I were sharing 1-year-old stories today. And they're learning new things, good and bad, right? They're learning new things every day. And so when they're first starting playing new positions, they're learning and falling and, messing up. And it's hard when you're going against Chumley and Zai. And it's, so the difference between this year and last year is like a huge difference. And it's the same kids. They're a year stronger. They're a year more confident. They got a bunch of reps under them. And it's not that they're different kids. It's that they're just better. And because of all the things they've gone through in the last year. And so that's exciting to see. It's exciting to see the light bulb turn on for some of them. So I appreciate, and there was some long drive home last year to Arlington. I was driving home to Arlington, and there's a lot of contemplating life, contemplating my decisions. And now my drive is 3 minutes, and it's much more enjoyable because there are a lot better thoughts, a lot more happy thoughts. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, Coach Rod, Coach Rick, similar questions for you guys as we go down the line. Who are a couple of kids that you've seen really step up during these spring practices so far that whether it's in just a massive improvement from last year or someone you weren't expecting that is there?
Before we get into that, I just want to say for the record, I want you all to know what's going on live on the stream. This is the best part of going live, is we get instant feedback with thumbs up, thumbs down. We've got haters on right now, which is my favorite. If you came to church on Sunday, I talked about it a little bit. I got to use a little bit, so I love it when the haters are on. So yeah, we see the thumbs down. We get all that. So welcome to our stream. Thanks for watching Coyote content. We appreciate you being here. Yeah, and I got no problem going at it. So thanks for upping our watching hours. We appreciate you being here. All right, Rod. Come on,
to all the other coaches and programs, we appreciate the views. You might as well like, comment, and subscribe. Help us out.
That's right.
All right. So, the two that have done a phenomenal job for us is, and everybody knows their name, Rowan Nylander and Ace Trailer, right? We talked about the receivers being banged up a little bit, and just having them two and being able to rely on them two just to kind of get us out of a funk, make a big-time play, keep the chains moving, man. They've done a great job, and they've kind of, led that receiver room there, and they, bring a style of toughness, bring a, style of, playing hard every snap, being consistent, and they've been showing those young bucks, hey, this is a style of play that we need in this room if we want to be good. So, man, they've been awesome. They've been great, and I feel like now that Ace Trailer has a year, down in our system, I feel like he's even played even better
Oh, wow.
I feel like his play has just even gone higher. Rowan Nylander the year before, played JV, and now that he's, has a year of varsity experience under his belt as well, they're just playing with a lot more confidence, and man, I am extremely excited to see what they're going to do this upcoming year.
Mm-hmm. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're nicknames. We give nicknames because that's what we do. Of course, in the first segment, you heard some of the nicknames we gave out. But man, Ace is. I think we're settling on calling him the surgeon, because he will cut up a defense, man.
Yeah.
That kid is something else to watch. Not they all are actually, but we've never had a name for Ace. Other than we talked about his selfless play, and I think he's still blocking that kid from Walnut Grove.
Yes.
I think somebody ought to bring him back into Anna.
He actually recently blocked him home from the school day.
There you go.
It was pretty cool to see.
So players that maybe have stood out to you in spring.
Yeah, so I mean, like Coach, Rodriguez said, there's some guys that, were already really, really good players for us. Ace, Rowan, Zai, those guys, have kind of, with some guys graduating and some things, taken bigger roles and even taken another step up in their development, which is really cool to see. Have a guy like Peyton Millard, is always great. He just keeps on working. That's what makes him special. Some guys, that have come in that have been good, really positive surprises. Guy that's really familiar to the program. We've known his brother for years, but Lashim coming in, Lashim Nienti, has really kind of grown out of, he's kind of this, a little more soft-spoken, shy kid, but has gotten to where when he walks onto a football field, it's a little different attitude when he goes. So he's playing, with a little bit of a nasty streak. We had that talk where, this is the step you need to have. You've got a lot of athleticism, a lot of ability, and do a lot of good things, but taking that next step to where you're now going to be a junior, you're getting that nasty streak, you're finishing plays, you're really, making things happen up through the whistle, not just stopping at the whistle. So he's done a great job. We have, Colton Tucker's come in, been a really, kind of breath of fresh air. He's got a great personality, does a great job, very smart, sharp kid that's come in and, learned a lot of, different positions in a matter of a couple weeks, that he's been with us. He's played guard, he's played center, we moved him around a little bit, and then, with kind of, a couple guys being banged up here and there, we've had Peyton playing center, tackle, kind of wherever we can utilize those guys. They've done a really good job. We've had some young guys that have had to come in, step in, much bigger roles than, things are moving much faster than what they thought. Maybe it may look at a varsity level, and they're growing. It's one of those things that's frustrating at first. I'm very detail-oriented, know what I want things to look like, very particular person. When it doesn't look that way, I tend to, maybe not express myself in the most positive manner.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But, that they're doing a good job, and it's just one thing that I talk to them kind of independently, afterward, make sure I pick them up a little bit off the mat and tell them, it's one of those things, it's a growth thing. I'll always, tease Lashim about when he was a freshman, I think he went a whole year of varsity football and didn't block anybody. So, we can only be up from here. Now, look where he's at. I mean, he's an absolute dog.
Every time I see Shem, I tell him, hey, you look skinny, man. What is going on? Every time.
Oh,
never fails. Like, why do you look so skinny, Shem?
No doubt.
What is
He
going
keeps
on?
growing.
We hand him jars of peanut butter.
I
and
know.
all this stuff. Yeah, you need to eat more.
And he's gaining weight, but as quickly as he gains, he grows inches, which is, a good problem to have.
Well, hey, so
I never had that problem.
let's shift gears and let's talk internally a little bit about the coaching staff. Okay, we've got to witness a few practices now. We've got to see some exchanges go on between the staff. You guys like to have some fun with each other, and so let's put it like this: who among the three of you or the entire staff talks the most trash during practice? Because it happens. We've seen it. We've seen it, so you can't say it doesn't happen.
And we personally love it, but who's the biggest trash talker on staff?
I mean,
Look at it. Nobody wants to say a word. Nobody. Come on.
I'm going to give two answers, one on the field and one off the field.
Okay.
Coach Townsend off the field's a sneaky trash talker.
Okay.
Very, he's, he talks in the office, he's got some sneaky comeback. for whatever reason, Cottrell walks into a lot of them too. But Townsend's a pretty sneaky trash talker. On the field, Rick's pretty good because he's loud. Most of the guys I can't even hear, to be honest, because you're just kind of tunnel vision, but he's loud enough to. So when they have a run or something, he's like, "Way to go, big guy!" You know, just say it loud enough for everyone on the field to hear. But it's not really. I mean, it's all in good fun. It's competitive, but I mean that's probably the two. Coach Parr talks a lot too, but I don't always hear him. So.
I think we're all just really, really competitive people, individuals. So it's more of a, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. We know that, but, during those segments, they can get pretty back and forth. And there's a lot of good on good, which, I mean, defense gets theirs, offense gets ours every once in a while. I mean, it's just, it's fun to celebrate kids when they're being successful, And, if they're not being successful, kind of give them a jab, get them going a little bit. It's always good, too.
For sure. Coach
Never
Ron,
heard-
you want to
never
weigh
heard
in?
your
Yeah, I'm a.
Coach Ron was going to sit back and hold
space.
on.
Yeah,
I'll get
just
my
let it
2
go.
cents in.
Yeah, come on.
I'm gonna go with Coach Severe just because we have a big play, and again, like Coach Lee, we celebrate our guys, and then there'll be an imaginary penalty on that play that we start hearing some type of hold or pass interference. Nobody saw but him, and then that's where the trash talking starts.
It's a delay of game. That's a false start. How penalty?
Yes.
We're just trying to champion kids over here on the offensive side of the ball.
Can I share my?
Who's talking trash?
Can I share my favorite? This was totally clean. Can I share my favorite piece of trash talk I heard from last Friday?
Yeah.
Not totally clean. Nothing bad about it. I don't have to edit it at all. There was one point where the offense was down in the I think the 3-yard line, and there were 3, 4, 5 coaches walking towards the huddle. They had just called a timeout, and I hear from the defensive sideline, Coach Severe, go, "You guys taking another timeout? There's 5 of y'all in the huddle. How many coaches does it take to get the play right?"
Where was I, by the way?
You were about 3 yards off the sideline.
There you go.
You were pretty close to where you needed to be, but it was pretty funny.
Listen, I was just checking.
You had already given your hand signals, got your defense. I'll give you credit. Your defense was lined up ready to go, and you got your little jab in there.
Yeah. Hey, I just play by the rules. The rules of the scrimmage was a sideline. Some of us followed the rules, and then during practice we stand in other places. But no, it's all in good fun. It's part of being competitive, and so
Part of our job, like what we get to do, we get to we walk around the edges. We get to see from a different perspective. And it's 100% clear. You spend any time around you guys, and it's clear to know you're for these kids.
Yes.
You're for them. And anything that's going to make them better, right, you're for that. They may not always understand that, but as an adult on the outside, we see the investment. We see the passion, right? And no matter how it comes out, it is appreciated, right? I know we have a lot of jokes around here, and I know people have a tendency to walk on eggshells around the pastor, but it is so awesome to watch the way you guys pour into these guys. And I know you get some encouragement and accolades throughout the year, and nothing better than a win, right? That's the best accolade, the best encouragement is a win. But starting this, kind of looking at spring and moving forward, you got a couple guys here on this show that really 100% believe in the kind of guys you are and the work that you're doing and the way that you go about doing it every day. Y'all work hard, right? In ways that most people will never see. And we've got to see just a small glimpse behind the curtain, and it's just made us more appreciative for the work you do. So thank you guys for being out here. Thanks for answering our questions. Thanks for sticking around for a long show tonight.
We appreciate it. Yep. No, it's great having us.
Stay right here while we close it out for us. Hey, thank you to real quick, let's give a hand to our coordinators. We appreciate you guys. Thank you, 3 Nations, for hosting us, for allowing us to be live here. Man, we're excited for more shows this next coming season from 3 Nations. And then I'm gonna give a little selfless plug. Hey, if you're out there and you want to purchase some ad time from the Coyote Football Network for the 2025 season, email blake@pinox.org or phil@pinox.org, and we'd love to partner with you guys. But until then, shall we close the show like we did all last season? Go Coyotes on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go
Go
Coyotes.
Coyotes!